I have developed 25 years ago a capacity building model with the help of other people in this room that actually is perfect. It is a perfect capacity building model that raises millions. We have a donor, we have a consultant, and we have a nonprofit, and they were all doing the right things. So let's find out what the results are. Sarah, if I could ask this question, there were other reasons you got involved in Phoenix Center. It wasn't to become a fundraiser, is that right?
That is right. And I felt badly, our first years of operation, I felt badly meeting for with a donor, asking for funds, having a fundraiser, thinking about having a development staff member felt like not a good use of funds.
Right.
But
and it's so classic, isn't it, that she's almost apologetic early on about the idea that we were going to be aggressive about building capacity.
And just in the year that we worked with Amy and increased our capacity, we doubled our staff, we doubled our fundraising by 774%, and we doubled the number of kids that we served.
For Sarah personally, we were just talking about this actually, and she spoke of it a little bit, was we believe in the strong CEO model, which means the CEO is out in the community raising money. And for Sarah, that was really outside of her comfort zone. But she's fabulous, y'all. She's fabulous. Just so proud of her and getting out and talk to donors. I remember the first time that she called me after she had a meeting with a donor to make a really large ask. And she called and she said, "It went great. It was so wonderful. I enjoyed it." And from that point on, she wasn't, I don't think you were really nervous again after that. So that was a big win because it has produced, and I'll let her, talk about that, but it produced relationships and major donors in her community. And
they made a choice to invest in raising the level of visibility externally in their community. Mm-hmm. It was one thing to be serving these families, it was one thing to be transforming these kids, but they invested in capacity building by having a non-fundraising awareness event.
Sarah decided, and the Stricklands decided that the best way to go about it was to throw a wide net to really let people in the community know, outside of the few that were already in her world, that they even existed. And so we did have a non-fundraising awareness event. We had to change venues twice. Because we had so many RSVPs for this non-fundraising awareness event where people came. We had some great chili by the matriarch of the town that they're in, and heard about the Phoenix Center and took an audience that didn't know, many of them didn't know about the Phoenix Center, and took them to the mountaintop at this event where we had parents come in and talk, and we told stories about the kids. Mabel, the therapy dog, was there. She's always a big hit. But I'll let you talk about what's happening now.
Let's see what the outcome is. I'll contextualize this. I'm about to give you platinum. In that, the individuals in the community and their names and their addresses, if we would do the smallest amount of due diligence, we can identify where the wealth set begins and ends in any community. We can all do that if we choose to. Instead of having a plated fundraiser where we ask for $1,000 a table and $100 a head, rather instead, we cast a wide net. We invited the right people, individuals of wealth, to a non-fundraising awareness event. And what has that led to?
Well, before we started working with Amy and the Strickland Foundation funded our capacity building, we made about $220,000 a year in revenue. And so to date, we've raised over $3.3 million towards our capital campaign and new facility. And that is really because we have not only increased our capacity and our fundraising, but we've brought people to the table to hear. We had powerful stories, powerful outcomes, but people didn't have the opportunity to sit at the table and know about us, know about what we were doing. We didn't market what we were doing because that was wasteful.
One of the things that we discussed continuously, I should say, is that if you do not have the correct people in place at the particular nonprofits, then the nonprofits would not grow. They would not be reaching the people that we are wanting to reach or accomplishing what we call the big goal or the big picture. We wouldn't be able to do that unless you had the right people in place. And you're not going to be able to get those right people unless you do reward the people that are doing the hard work. Because it's not easy dealing with the majority of the people that the nonprofits work with. It takes emotional strain and dedication to work with children that have dealt with neglect and abuse, or adolescents that have drug and alcohol problems. It is emotionally draining, not to mention sometimes physically draining, to be working with those type of children and to have the type of credibility, the patience, the passion to work with those types of people. They need to be rewarded, or you're not going to get the best.